Hello there. How are we all? Right now I'm hungry, so I'm eating breakfast at the moment. Ruffus, how's it going? Yeah, I forgot last night to set all this up. Eves. Hello. Team ASMR? Yeah. We'll see how long this stream actually goes for, because I'm still recovering from a flu. So I've got a bit of a sore throat. So I'm going to be probably not commenting as much. I'll try to, because that's the whole point of the fucking stream. But yeah, it's this is one of those situations where I wanted to make sure I don't miss a week, which is why I actually pushed this back as far as I could. I won't be able to do the stream tomorrow, and Sunday will be too late. So I got to do it today. Hey Nelson. Anyway, I actually really want to watch this first thing that we're doing. So the first thing that we're actually going to react to. Hello, Metroximus. And Mongrel Squad streaming an EU friendly time. Yeah, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning where I'm at. $319.1 robbed me all my money and blues. To grind money now, and I don't know how. So you could still do it doing the piracy. It's just going to take a little bit longer. Smo 18 is the place to go to. A lot of inexperienced cargo haulers are going there to trade gold. So they tick trading gold and they leave, and you can whale on them because Microtech has such a high quantum travel ceiling. Just whale on them, brick them, pick up the boxes, and then go and sell them. Because it's gold, it's worth so much more, man. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to be sitting here watching me eating breakfast. So, the first thing that I want to react to is Inside Star Citizen. Which came out literally like, I'd say about half an hour ago. Half an hour to 45 minutes. Maybe a little bit longer. Could have been an hour ago now. Fuck, it's music. There it is. Mute. Alright. So, before we start this, CIG in their This Week in Star Citizen post that they do every week did mention that they're going to be talking about Port Olisar in this episode, so I'm keen to see what's going on. It's actually weird, Nelson, because normally it's not done by this time in the morning for me. Normally, like, for me, it's like mid-morning. around 9 or 10ish. Like, this was actually a pleasant surprise because I wasn't expecting to be reacting to Inside Star Citizen first up. I thought if I kept the stream going long enough, it'll come out and I'll be able to react to it live on stream. All right. We're going to see what Behold Seraphim is all about.
Port Olisar was first introduced alongside the Persistent Universe in Star Citizen Alpha 2.0.
Calm down. Oh my God. This is what happens when people don't balance their audio. That should be fine. Well, Stoney, you're watching it again with me.
And it holds a special place in the hearts of many who remember those earliest days of Tessa Bannister, comms array missions, and of course the old Big Benny's challenge. But as Star Citizen's development continues to expand and evolve life in the PU, Port Olisar has fallen behind in its ability to support the game systems of today, later this year, and certainly beyond. But now there's a new kid on the playground looking to take its role and its job, if not its place in our hearts, and it's scheduled to arrive in the upcoming Alpha 320.
Port Olisar was our first space station that we put into Star Citizen. It's gone through some minor changes, but for the most part, it's really stayed the same. Just a quick, easy, get in, get out space station. When it was first conceived, basically, it was really just a way for the players to spawn into the solar system. So we had to think about how many habitation halves went in there. We had to think about the stores that were needed, and then a way for players to spawn in their ships. I think that people like it just because it's get in, get out, you know, and
yeah,
there's
no shit.
That kind of feel. There's no transit loops. There's nothing there that basically extends the timeline and the gameplay.
This is a reason why. Like, everybody cheered about the whole train thing when they first showed it at Lawville back in, I don't know, like 2018 or some shit. Until they had to ride it a couple of times, and now they're all sick of it. Like, there's no elevators at Port Olisar. It's just airlocks and stairs. Port Olisar is a good example of really good level design for players being able to start and get into their ship quickly and being able to go and do what the fuck they want to do. And then CIG's gone and designed all that other shit. Like, honestly, man, whatever they're going to replace it with, which obviously is going to be fucking Seraphim. Bloody... Whatever they're replacing it with, it's just not going to even live up close to the convenience of what Port Olisar offers. In fact, I hope what they do, COG does, is that the stations that players can take over are in the same style as Port Olisar.
And for the most part, it has all the shops the average person needs, you know, armor shop, FPS shop. There's a ship item shop there as well. I think the initial implementation of Port Olisar, you know, did everything that we needed it to do, checked all the boxes. But obviously, as the game has evolved and changed over time, like, we needed to adjust it. We've added medical gameplay, we've added cargo, and unfortunately, Port Olisar doesn't support any of those game loops, so it became apparent that we need to start investigating a way to change it or adjust it and bring it up to speed.
Well, I'm recovering from a flu at the moment, Miro. So I sound a bit different. See, they say change and adjust. And I really think that they really should have just looked at expanding where they could. Just add an elevator and then just add extra sections to it. I'm doing my best, Amira. Getting there. Yeah, I think they should have just added like a section where there's elevators that would take you to a different area where there's an actual, medical facility. But the thing is that there's actually rest stops that look similar to the way that Port Olisar is laid out. The least thing we need is more elevators. All they are is just teleporting boxes. Well, not teleporting boxes, they actually travel. They're Wonkavators.
Seraphim Station is the official name for what we've been calling Olisar 2.0 internally for quite a while now. What we initially set out to do is to create this really grand space station with a really fantastic sense of scale that players could have a really good time flying in and around and also to and from. So we had a really good time playing around with different design languages and shape languages that we could then use to come together for the final product. We were also working on lots of shape studies involving the silhouette of the station to make sure it was reminiscent of other stations and also to bring our own unique spin on it.
Seraphim Station is an homage to Port Olisar in the way that it looks. We're keeping the rings, and but then it's also taking all of the existing Leo Station gameplay and bringing that over to that station.
It's much larger and much more extravagant than anything that we've done before in terms of our space station kit. But this is utilizing the kit in the way that we haven't before, and it's created much more unique identity for it than anything else, I think. I think the gameplay around it is going to be very cool, specifically just, seeing it for the first time, approaching it. There's multiple hangars, view rooms all over the station, providing you with, beautiful views of the planet at the right time of day. Extremely large station, probably 4 to 5 times bigger than Olisar. So we have everything that you could possibly need inside. It has various sets of hangars and habs in the center of the first 2 rings. And those are going to be where players are going to be landing their ships, collecting their ships, and the general gameplay that occurs over there. Then towards the back end of the ship, we have the cargo area, which is going to incorporate that gameplay as well. So this is how we sort of mixed and matched all of these together to create something a little bit more unique.
I feel like they're just padding out time in the video right now, just to say they're making it like the other fucking ports. Like, literally, that's all they're doing. They're just bringing it up to the same standard as what the other ports are at. Everest Harbour, by Ginny Point, and Port Tressler have all the exact same fucking things. They could have literally just said, yeah, we're bringing Port Olisar 2.0, which we're calling Seraphim, up to the same standard as the other ports for the other planets. And they would have just, hit the nail on the head. Unfortunately, though, that probably would have cut off about 3 or 4 minutes of playtime, which is not very good because we're already at the 5-minute mark. All right, let's
we also have docking tubes and everything else that players could need to traverse along this big structure.
It has the medical clinic areas. It has cargo, everything there that's needed to support all of our careers that are being developed and growing.
The whole need for the station was that we're trying to have a focus on and introduce bounty gameplay into each station as much as we can. So each station also has a security dock integrated into it as well. That is going to be where all of the bounty gameplay is going to be happening, and you're going to be directed towards that. So it will be the replacement, so to speak, for Olisar. Olisar is not going anywhere. We know what a historical thing it is for the players.
We will pay proper homage to it later. And we were trying to find ways to basically send it off. Obviously, I think if we did a new space station and just renamed it Port Alisar, the old Port Alisar that they loved then just goes away completely. But basically, for right now, we need to remove it, and then we'll be putting in Seraphim Station in its place, and then in the future, we'll talk about what we're going to do with Port Alisar.
I hope what they do is they just remove the quantum travel point for it. And it just comes down to trying to find it. That's what I really hope they do with it. And then, you know, do a one-time only event, I don't know, where Port Olisar just goes diving into the planet or something like that. Or Nine Tails steals Port Olisar and they stick it in the fucking asteroid field over bloody near, what's it called? Hurston and that, and it becomes a new outlaw station. And then Stanton has 2 outlaw stations. They're not going to do that one. We know they're not going to do that. The problem is, Anto, is that the stations are not designed to do that at all. Like the distances between where the ASOP terminals are and the hangars, like if you actually had to physically move them, would still take you, you know, like half an hour. That's the problem. Like, that's why I call them wonkavators. Not real elevators, they're wonkavators. They just go whatever way that fucking CLG wants them to.
So the way that we set up our LEO stations, all of them are future-proofed and allow us to add new modules to them via our internal transit loop and the way that we set up the object containers within the game and load. And this is also becoming future-proof for when we add new things to the station. Port Alisar, it was so small, there was no place to add or grow, and there was no transit loops so that we can fill and block off or open new loops to get to new areas. And with Seraphim, this allows us to continue that same thought process and to get everything that we need to give to the player in that area, either things that Ryzen is missing or things that Grim Hex might be missing. This allows us to basically make sure that the player has a local area and a local space station to acquire anything that they might need. So as new careers come online, whether that be bounty hunter or exploration or other things, this opens new ways for us to actually go in and add new decks, new content. So Seraphim actually fixes all of that. The whole sea is coming, and with the cargo decks and the gameplay that we needed to load the whole sea, we felt that this was the right time to introduce it to the game.
Yeah,
but
it actually makes a lot of
it's
sense.
Better station than Port Olisar. I think like Port Olisar has become a monument to the players, and it's got its own value. That I think we try to honor that as much as possible. And I think we try to create our own take on that as much as possible. So I like to think that we ended up saying that we're all very happy with. I wouldn't say it is better than Olisar, no.
For marketing purposes, it's better.
For marketing purposes, it's absolutely 100% 3 times better than Olisar, statistically.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Port Olisar's days are numbered when that new hotness Seraphim Station comes on.
What did we learn this week? And we're at the 9-minute mark and there's 13 minutes left in the video.
Online in the upcoming Alpha 320. That it'll be home to all the present-day amenities and capabilities current space stations have to offer. And of course, be better set up for future developments, cargo, bounty hunting, and all the other commercial and industrial gameplay systems that'll continue to evolve in subsequent patches later this year. We also want to give a big shout out to some massive bar citizens that have happened over the last 2 weeks, including those near each studio in Los Angeles, Austin, Montreal, Manchester, Frankfurt, as well as some absolutely enormous ones in Shanghai with roughly 1,500 people, followed by Hong Kong, and if I'm not mistaken, Incheon, South Korea coming up this Saturday, Paris the Saturday after that, and then of course, my absolute favorite each and every year, Cologne, Germany for Gamescom. It's a terrific way to celebrate a birthday, I can promise you that. And while we're talking celebrations,
you can slightly double hear the video. That is amazing considering it's not even procking on my microphone. Like I'm looking at my bloody thing for my thing on OBS that should be showing that it's actually registering audio and it's not even moving.
CitizenCon, the big live in-person event, is returning after a 4-year hiatus this year with a 2-day event in my hometown of Los Angeles. It's your chance to meet your favorite developers and fellow citizens in person and pitch which ship you think should be made next directly to John Cruz's face, or even how you think a particular gameplay system should work directly into Todd Pappy's eyes. They're not allowed to leave. They legally have to stand there and listen. General tickets are on sale today, and you can check the website for details on the when and the what for. And as for me, it's that time of year where ISC goes on hiatus. We're going to take a few weeks to recharge some batteries, give the devs a break from having to fake appendicitis every time they see me coming, and plot out the next quarter's worth of weekly content. If you've been around for a while, you know what Q3 heading into CitizenCon is like. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here in about a month. Port Olisar, first station of the Stanton system. Gone missing in Alpha 320 and replaced without rhyme or reason. Where did it go? What happened to it? Who doesn't want us to know? That's where our team of brilliant researchers and recreationists on the ISC gameplay capture team come in, with a theory not based in science, fact, or anything Todd Pappy would have you believe, but instead what feels right to them in the distorted, reason-askew minds of Will, Dave, and Alex.
This is what everybody wanted to see. The T-posing NPC.
We make no claims to know what really happened, and we certainly didn't ask anyone that could have told us. Instead, we offer one potential reality for you alone to judge. For unresolved miseries, I'm the person talking to you now. Bye.
Oh man, that was the kind of send off that I was really hoping to see Port Olisar. But But if they do repurpose it, I want to see it as a pirate station over on the other side of Stanton. Oh, man. But yeah, that was the last ISC for the quarter, and all they did was say that they're putting replacing Port Olisar in 320. I know, it feels like they could have built it up a bit more. Don't know. Yeah, it could have been when they finally brought the SRV in it. It could be utilized. Alright. I'm gonna go AFK for a second and make sure that something that was supposed to happen happened, so I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, and to be honest, I was actually thinking that myself. It's like the last video of the quarter. Like, not even a recap. I'm trying to think, what do they normally do? I think they've done something similar before, where they've just put two things in and that's it. Steel PO with SRVs, yes. Give us 200 mil, drag PO into Orison. Or we could do like, give us 200 mil, we'll drag Everest Harbor into Lawville. Just turn it into a big fuck off asteroid. That would have been, that Port Olisar thing though would have been a lot of fun to make. Wonder if that actually would have been able to have been done in game though. Because from my understanding, they need emitters on, like, for doing the re-entry effect, they need particle emitters on certain parts of the ships so that it knows the proc. Nelson, we getting any statement on the removal of ship trespassing from 320? What, from me or CIG? Because I got no idea why CIG decided to do it. Me, I'm just disappointed that they're doing it. Yeah. Well, the impression that they gave to us all was that it was pretty much done. You know, this is what it is. You know, this is all the stuff. We thought of everything. It's ready to go for 320. And then a week later, they pull it out. And it's like, alright, well, what the fuck did you guys miss that would have caused that? You know, like, I don't know. Community feedback? Nah. A lot of people are just sitting there whinging. Why can't I see when people come onto my ship? I should be able to see whenever anybody's on my ship at every single time because I should be able to play the game without any sort of risk or danger. Like, it doesn't matter. The idea that it was there for, you know, to try and empower players so that they'd actually want to fight back at piracy encounters, though, that was never going to be a thing. God, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm scared. The devs say that about everything that they remove from a patch. Too much work, not right yet. We'll remove it and we'll put it in later. Like, Anta does make a good point. It doesn't impact the game that much, with or without it. Yeah, like, and the devs are never going to sit there and say, yeah, the reason why we couldn't actually add it was because, you know, like, it turns out that well, let's look. Let's think the comm system on every single ship is not exactly the same. And it turns out that there are a few ships that were running on a legacy system that haven't been updated yet. And we now need to go and update them. And when we did that, we found a whole bunch of other issues. That is, you know, a high likely scenario. But they're not going to tell us that. Will it unlock weapons and armistice? Probably only for the ship. Because when they did show in ISC, you know, being able to skulk around inside of armistice, it showed in the video they were still landed in a hangar, they had boarded the ship, and they pulled a weapon out. Now here's something that I don't think a lot of people have actually taken notice of yet, but if your ship is landed on a landing pad, you can pull your multi-tool out. This system doesn't allow someone to pull weapons. Why not? What I hope it does is it allows anybody to pull a weapon. Like, the most likely scenario here, I'm going to talk through a scenario for a ship infiltration. So somebody just fills their ship up with cargo. They're at a port. They're about to take off. Somebody snuck onto their ship. What they're going to do, whoever is on that board that ship, they're going to wait until they go to take off. So they've called the ATC. The hangar doors are open. They're all the way open. They're starting to move. They pull away from the station. And then they cap them in the back of the head. When they're far away enough, jump in the pilot's chair, fly away. Oh yeah, 100% Nelson. Like, if it ends up being, oh yeah, only the fucking ship owner can pull their weapon out on a bloody ship in armistice, I'd be like, fuck off. You know what I'd do? If I found out one of my guys had snuck onto a ship and CIG had done that, I'd be like, alright, wait until they kill you, cool. Now, we're gonna destroy them as they leave the station. Blow them up. It's gonna start coughing then. David. Where is it? I'm gonna grab a link for you. So I haven't made an official announcement about this or anything like that. This, might as well put it out on the stream now while you're all here. What did my invite go? There it is. So Mongrel Squad no longer recruits directly into its ranks, which means that if you want to join Mongrel Squad, you actually need to go through our auxiliaries. That there is our public gilded server. Everybody's welcome on it. But if you want to join Mongrel Squad, you need to go through the Mongrel auxiliaries first. It's just part of our recruitment pathway now. The auxiliaries are a pirate organization as well. It's our sister pirate org, and they're a more casual organization. when it comes to piracy operations. There's not as much expectations put on you there. It's a good place to be, to join if you're new to the game, to learn piracy, learn about Star Citizen, meet some people that play it. So, yeah. Head over there. They do the same stuff that we do in Mongrel Squad. The difference between the auxiliaries and Mongrel Squad is Mongrel Squad's a bit more rigid, a bit more regimented. There are expectations and obligations that are put on the members. And, yeah. But in return, Mongrel Squad trains you a lot. We put a lot of time and effort into training our members, whereas for the auxiliaries, you just do your training on the job. Sometimes the officers and other members from Mongrel Squad will come across and run some impromptu training sessions for the auxiliaries, but it's nothing outside of stuff that you wouldn't learn on your own. It's just a little bit of a shortcut, help you guys get a little bit better, help you out with certain things. But there's also other orgs there as well. We've got the Stellar Packrat Logistics, which is our sister org for handling lawful logistics. They do stray on the grey side of things, but they're a 90% lawful organization. Then you got the Merrick's Cartel, or Merrick's Cartel, which is our illegal logistics organization. They mainly do smuggling. Merit sales is a big thing. Our in-house Care Bears, yeah, they kind of are, but they're not that Care Bearish. Our Care Bears have teeth and claws. Yeah, at the least, David, I highly suggest that you keep doing research, man. Find some streamers, find some other content creators, you know, ask questions, talk with them. Pack rats are far from being Care Bear. Excuse me. In comparison to the other 3 organizations within the Mongrel Corps, they are the closest to being Care Bears. So, they're our Care Bears. Still recovering. Alright. I think it's about time that we moved on. But yeah, David, if you're interested in joining or anything like that, click on that link. It'll take you to our public gilded server. All the information that you're looking for is there. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to be reacting to, guys, is a Spectrum post. And this Spectrum post is about CIG and the Combat Everywhere version 2.0. I'm pretty sure this person has... I don't know if we reacted to this person before with a different post. But yeah, it's... I believe this is another complaint. I actually haven't read through this one yet. But I believe this is a complaint that there's combat involved in everything in this game. And it's just combat everywhere, and it's been shoved on everyone, and everything's about combat in this game. So, let's have a watch. Let's read through. So, COG in the Combat Everywhere version 2.0. Greetings. Now, this is from last week, June 23rd. So, last week. So, they watched last week's IC. Mission Cognizable or something like that. Just watched the recent ISC, and while I'm looking forward to more mission content, I was sad to see that once again the mission feature team is completely unable to conceive and create a single new location or mission idea that doesn't get turned into a combat mission or gets combat added to it. To me, the constant combat focus on everything without cause to locations that make no sense are damaging the believability of the Star Citizen universe. Example. Currently, Orison is the only point of interest on Crusader, and we are all looking forward to many more points of interest to visit. But what do we get as the first new Crusader POIs? The 4 Freedom Park Orison platforms originally created for Siege of Orison event are separated into 4 individual pieces and are then copy and pasted all over Crusader. O-Tone CIG missions team to become Orison platform missions of the usual kill all pirates / kill person X mission locations. This is done so the Siege of Orison Freedom Park, which currently houses these exterminate all / kill person X Orison platform missions, isn't blocked by these missions taking place at the same location. Jesus, wall of text. While I understand why CIG does the copy and paste to get new locations from the Orison platform missions, it also shows an inherent problem with CIG's current location and mission design. Most of Star Citizen's POI locations are not created to be believable locations that make sense in the greater picture of the Star Citizen universe. Locations are not built to make sense first and have missions take place there second. Most locations outside of the cities are created as a mission location only. This approach has ramifications to Star Citizen's believability. If the location has no connection to the universe at large, it feels fake. So when CIG copy and paste the 4 Freedom and Park platforms, this means that in universe, all locations on Crusader aside from Orison are contested locations that constantly get attacked by Ninetales pirates. This person doesn't know the lore of Crusader. Why and how Crusader security or the UEE even allowed Ninetales to become such a security problem so that they can harass Crusader on a permanent basis, we don't know. It's not explained at all. Yeah, it is. For starters, Grim Hex is the Ninetales stronghold in Stanton. So the fact that they keep attacking Crusader isn't a far-fetched prospect. But there's also accusations of corruption amongst Crusader's government officials, because it's actually a company, that there's lots of corruption there. And whilst they've been saying that they've been dealing with the security threats, they actually haven't. The new underground facilities are not built with the Star Citizen universe economy in mind, so that, e.g. Hurston did build a number of these giant locations to harvest the planet's deeper resources, or as weapon tests and production facilities. From what the mission feature team said about these new underground facilities, they are merely being built to be the pendant of any other MMOs, dungeons / raid locations. Alright. How much more is the code? Fucking hell. Okay, it's not that far. Fucking misplace. Alright, here we go. CIG, you got it all backwards. If the Star Citizen universe is to be believable, you have to think about why a location exists in the Star Citizen universe first, and then think about what type of missions can take place there. So if you have these new Orison mission platforms, you need to ask why. Why do the Ninetales want to take control? Does the platform under attack house important Crusader production facilities? Is there a research lab for new prototypes? Is it a holiday resort location and Ninetales take the resort visitors hostage to demand a rant? If it's pure terrorism, explain why Ninetales act like this. They do all this, you're just not fucking looking. Like that's just it. This person hasn't looked further than the fucking ISC. Yeah, like this person's complaining that CIG hasn't sat there and explained it all. Like CIG has explained not to this level of detail, you know, like why they're attacking the platforms. This person is just having a whinge and trying to disguise it. They're having a whinge that there's too much combat in the game and they don't like it. They're trying to disguise it under the pretense that CIG isn't explaining it well enough. It's pure terrorism. Explain why the Nine Tails act like this, which they need you to explain why none of the 4 planet security companies and the UE do not hunt down Nine Tails on the spot. And also explain why Grimhex still exists. Same goes for the new underground facilities. Why does that underground facility exist at the spot it sits at? What does it hold that triggers a Nine Tails attack? This can be extended to all the... Alright, I'm just going to start summarizing because this is just somebody fucking trying to deliver fucking... what's it called? Level design lessons to people who actually fucking do level design for a living. That is the problem with CIG's current mission setup. That they are pure gameplay content with not a single thought given to why it even exists, what it holds or produces, and why Nine Tails attacks do happen. Yeah, no shit, it's a fucking video game. Like... pure gameplay content. Funny that in a fucking video game. Like, am I the only one that's... like, I can't be the only one sitting here thinking that. So if CIG wants that realistic and believable universe, they need to stop building theme park mission locations and switch over to building realistic locations with the universe's own lore. They are! It's just not to your liking because you don't want fucking combat in the game. You want a little fucking safe space. Like, the lore of Crusader, I've already said this. Bloody Crusader is corrupt. Their security is very corrupt. That's why they keep getting attacked. And part of the reason why they actually don't mind Nine Tails doing all these attacks is that if they did push Nine Tails out, they'd have nothing to fucking do. And their bloody funding would get scaled back. This person's just going on. Think about this when you... yeah, fucking... they're coaching CIG now. They're trying to coach them through making game locations. Enough with the combat. Okay, yeah, so it's pretty much... coaching. I know you can do better, CIG, so please do better. Enough with the combat focus. Enough with the locations that purely exist to have a location. To have a location a mission can take place at. Do what you set out to do and build that believable universe. Stop turning Star Citizen into Disneyland. As always, keep it civil in the comments. TLDR, a mission-focused ISC once again was full of combat only. It really saddens me how Star Citizen locations are not built to make sense in the verse, but get built as mission locations only. The mission feature team once again showed to us how they can only come up with and talk about combat. CIG enough. Please stop building theme park locations. Stop to apply combat to everything. Start to build locations that make sense. and see what mission types can take place at HD mining operations. Since currently you seem to only think about the mission first, then build the location. That's okay if you want Disneyland theme park content. It's not okay if you want to build a believable or realistic universe. Nearly 300 upvotes on this. I'm gonna add a Picard palm to that. You know what I forgot to do as well? That's the post. It's a week old. It's got 300 upvotes on it. I just realized that the chat's gone. Why the fuck isn't the chat there? Did I turn that off last week? Must have forgot about it. Yeah, I don't know what drugs this guy is on, Tumblr. Welcome, by the way. The thing is like, majority of this is them just trying to coach CIG on how to make missions, or correction locations. Yeah, I can't really. It's literally a Care Bear fucking complaining that that CIG made an IC about combat and they didn't like it. That's it. It doesn't matter if they alter for Tumblr. The problem that we've got here is, actually I'm going to go back to the reaction. Like, nearly 300 people have upvoted this, so there's, you know, at least 297 other people who think like this too. They're not even paying attention to what's in the game. Like, there's so many delivery missions, so many salvaging missions. You know, they're complaining, oh, there's combat in there. It's like, Stanton isn't a safe system. So there's a threat that you could be attacked. And there isn't security lurking around every single corner. So you need to defend yourself. But if you don't want to do combat, you don't have to. Just read what the mission description says. You'd be surprised though, there, Squirrel, because you know, if a Spectrum post does get enough traction, they do start paying attention to it. This person, I guarantee, this person and the people who have voted this believe, you know, sincerely that Pyro is the PvP, will be the PvP zone. That's what they're going to believe. You watch, when Pyro comes out, you'll start seeing posts on Spectrum when people start attacking each other in Stanton. They'll be like, why are people trying to do PvE in Stanton, PvP in Stanton? Go to Pyro, that's the PvP server. They will complain so hard. What's the top voted? I do agree with you that CIG focuses too much on combat missions when they could make missions that does not involve any combat. They literally added salvaging missions for this fucking patch. An entirely new patch. entirely new patch and they added an entirely new mission set. So I don't understand what the fuck they're complaining about again. Like, we got an entire profession that is not even combat focused, salvaging, in 3.18. Just people who sincerely want to try and turn Star Citizen into the utopia that Elite Dangerous didn't end up being. The PvE utopia that they got bored of, known as Elite Dangerous. They want to turn Star Citizen into that. You just wait until Starfield goes live. They'll be fucking happy then. Surprised about the no private servers in the comments? Yeah, like, that's because they don't want it. They're not going to talk about stuff that's so far off the horizon. To be honest, like, after reading through that, it's pretty clear. It's just another Care Bear having a fucking whinge that they weren't getting another bloody PvE thing orientated towards them. Like, I'm all for more industrial gameplay. I think there should be. Then again, you know, fucking, what was it? We've got refueling, we've got mining, we've got salvaging, cargo hauling. Got medical gameplay. You technically got a limited capacity of repair because of the multi-tool. We've also got being able to remove components from most ships as well. Could do replacement services. Various salvaging missions is quite high. Not really. Like, you can do the salvaging missions without using a salvaging ship. You just have to accept that you're not going to be making as much every single trip. Hello, Ozzel. Like, the ships do come with cargo boxes on board that you can pull off, but then there's also the weapons that you can pull out. So those salvaging missions, because I do them, you know that you can just abandon them at any time and that's fine. You don't miss out on them. Like, what was it? A couple of weeks back, the meta for doing the salvaging missions was the meta for doing the salvaging missions was to pick them up and then pull whatever of the cargo boxes out and then just abandon and then move on to the next one. For the salvaging missions, it's different. Technically, you're supposed to be able to submit at any time. The upcoming was it the next iteration of salvaging missions where they're like, you need to get rid of all the graffiti markings and stuff like that from the criminal ships. That's where you'll definitely need to do hull scraping. But I see that, like, if you have to use a ship to do hull scraping, the Vulture's not a bad place to start. And to be honest, I think that's, you know, it being in that position that it's at as the starter for salvaging, that's fine. Not every profession needs to have a starting ship where it's like a $50 ship. 320 Vulture comes to shops, right? Should have come in 319. That's when it fucking should have shown up. Technically, it should have shown up at 318. Because of how long they fucking took to get it out. But 319 would be a more reasonable fucking expectations. Alright, we're going to move on to the next bit of content here. So the next thing that we're reacting to, I was still unsure if I want to watch it. I have a lot of trouble watching his videos. And I don't like to shit on the guy, but there's been times where I have reacted to his stuff and it's like, mate, you gotta pull your head in. That all said, they're talking about a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And when I did try to watch it the first time, I only got a few minutes in and I pretty much had to stop. I ended up having to send messages out to a few other pirates and, you know, ask around Mongrel Squad like, hey, what do you think about these stats that they're putting out there? And you'll see what I mean when we start watching. So, the next video that we're reacting to here is from Avenger 1. Let me just mute the music. The thing is that I ended up grabbing the transcript and putting it through ChatGPT to see roughly, you know, get the synopsis of what the video was about. And yeah, it wasn't. From what I read, it was pretty generic. The advice that he was giving and all that sort of stuff. I'm getting the impression that, like, he's finally come out of Arena Commander and he's finally discovering about the persistent universe outside of combat. Yeah, let's let me check something here. Is that actually? I'll mute it. There we go. So we're going to start watching. We'll see how far we make it through. I know I'm going to pause at one point, and it's going to be talking about their stats.
Next time you get pulled over with the police, make sure you comply, okay?
This is the police?
You're damn right it's the police.
4.2, I'm engaging down to that right, Sam. There it is. Coming 4.2, right on you. You ready? Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Welcome back, everyone, to another video. Today, I wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about piracy. In the last 5 days, we have intercepted, pirated, and stolen cargo from over 60 vessels, equaling almost 38 million.
Sixty vessels, 5 days, 60 vessels, 38 million. That's one target every 2 hours. One target every 2 hours for 5 days straight. Now, I sat here and I thought, when I heard this, when I first heard it, I thought it was different. What stats did I think it was? I don't even remember. It was the 38 million over 5 days, but I don't think it was 60. It was 38 million over 5 days. I think I worked it out. It was probably his whole org. Yeah, Nelson, I'm going to put some perspective on this, though. Even with your entire organization working on doing piracy ops, finding that many targets that frequently is, that's 12 targets a day over 5 days. 12 targets per day. Even in Mongrel Squad, when we have fucking all 3 time zones running piracy ops, throughout a 24-hour period, we're not even hitting 12 targets. Here's the other thing is 38 million divided by 60 targets. I did the math on it. It was 6,333 alpha. 633,333 alpha UEC per target. That's how much you need to get. Now, from what I was told, what he was doing was he was spreading people out across multiple servers. And then as soon as one would get a target, he would bounce across, go interdict, pirate, and then wait for the next one. Yeah, Moist Noodle, I saw his, he did a post on Twitter. I saw it, it was 11 million in one day, which is a really good fucking day. Yeah, as well, the way that they're loading the cargo here, they're doing it from the, what was it, cabin side? So they got the walkway in the way. What's up, Kingy? But here's the thing though, guys. It's like, this is assuming that you don't fuck up any single hit. Nothing goes wrong. Well, answer, here's the more likely thing that could have happened. Is that they had scouting teams out, and Avenger 1 was bouncing between from team to team. And when you come across one, well, when the scouts would call up one, Avenger 1 would jump across, do the piracy bit, stick around long enough until he heard that there was another target, and then he'd leave the previous target and go and hit the next one. And whoever was left on the previous server would be there left to load the boxes. That's the only way that I know that you could pull that off. But over 5 days, 60 targets. Unless these guys have got like the best pirates in the game, like people who've been doing piracy since day dot and have fucking learned how to stack boxes, I highly doubt that they were able to make that. And these were brought up in the comments, and he said go watch his streams. And well, I don't know if he's got his most recent streams locked behind a subscription wall or anything like that. But the most recent streams when I looked after he'd released this video were from like a week beforehand. And they didn't go for that long. And he didn't hit that many targets. I have no idea, Avatar. Van, that isn't a new strat. That strategy's been around for ages. Most pirates don't do it though, because it's too easy. Like, the irony is that a lot of pirates, when it comes to doing piracy, it's not about fucking trying to make a lot of money. It's not about trying to make a lot of money all the time. It's about the interaction, the challenge that the target presents. It was kind of, you know, which is why certain strategies pirates don't use, because it's too easy. Steal from your own for the content? Possible, but I doubt that. Here's the thing is, like, they could have embellished these stats. There's no proof behind any of it. There's no obvious proof. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't really want to react to it. Like, from my understanding of the rest of the video, he goes into essentially complaining about things that we as pirates have been experiencing for years. The numbers. Mirror, that's 38 million over 5 days. That's the claim. But yeah, like, 38 million over the course of 5 days and 60 targets. at least, and if it's based on 60 targets, 38 million divided by 60 is 633,333. Amira, you're making that in 2 days? Well, you better get on those bloody hit registrations, mate, because we're severely lacking behind. That's the other thing is, like, we register our hits. Like, we have a form that we fill out to collect the statistics. How much did we pull during the drug exploit? Our best week was 28 million. Well, here's the thing, Meta. If he was getting perfect hits every 2 hours, 24 hours a day, he would probably hit the 38 million a lot earlier. That's the thing, and it's one of the reasons why I paused on this and I've been sitting on this for so long, is that these stats here, to his audience, who doesn't know any better, looks really good. And this can actually be used as ammunition to say, hey, Piracy needs to be balanced because they're making too much too quickly. Like, there must be other strategies because they have like, they do mention that they use extortion. If they're on the ship, though, I don't think they'd bother with ransom. But the point that I'm getting at here is that for them to really push that 38 million in that sort of time frame, I don't see them doing it without fudging the numbers pretty hard. You know, like, maybe they're including scrapping the ship hull. Yeah, Scarlett's got it right there. Like, this sort of values here, like, these sorts of stats, can actually be damaging to Piracy. Because if Avenger 1, who isn't a player pirate, who doesn't do this all the time, is out there and able to make this much credits that quickly, hitting 60 targets in the space of 5 days. This is ammunition that gets used to compel CIG, hey, like, Piracy's too easy now. And I'd say that they simplified Piracy. I wouldn't say they made it too easy. The problem still is on the other side. It's not him that needs to wait. It's just he's got the presence that can then be utilized by somebody else to go, hey, Avenger 1 and his group did this. Piracy is too easy. CIG watches this content. That's why I take issue with these stats. Like, what did you count? What didn't you count? Is one person really, one group might be enough for CIG if there's enough pressure from the community. Like, it's not about, CIG being analytical with the statistics here. It's about somebody creating and campaigning to CIG, hey, piracy's too easy. Look at this group here. They're not even pirates and they're able to do this. You need to do something about this piracy stuff. Yeah, that's it. Tumblr hit it. It's the outcry. You know, if these guys manage to pull it off and, you know, they're able to prove it and it ends up being, you know, legit, I'd be like, oh, fuck, we got to step up our game then. Make that in a day selling merits, yeah. But yeah, I don't even know if I want to watch the rest of this. Let's continue. I'm not going to sit and dwell on this one.
Full of gold, barrel, and things like drugs, you name it. Almost every single one of these ships didn't have a scout or an escort to save their life. And it made me ask a very serious question. Why are people so cavalier in the way they fly around with such high risk stuff? If you're going to risk almost $2 million in a C2 Starlifter, shouldn't most people even consider the possibility that possibly they might be pirated?
This is once again why I said earlier on, it's like he finally came out of Arena Commander and he's experiencing the verse for the first time. Because it doesn't even matter how easy CIG makes it to get escorts. Players are expecting to make hundreds of thousands of credits all the time. Because that's what trade is. Like, people are expecting cargo hauling to pay as much as what trade does. And they're two completely different professions. You got cargo hauling, which is just moving boxes from point A to point B. And then you got trade, which is about bloody buying low, selling high. Yeah, there's still players out there who claim that they've never been pirated before, but then you ask them, okay, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I run bunker missions. And like, why the fuck would a pirate want to attack you then? Why would a pirate want to attack a bunker runner? Well, they'll turn around and go, yeah, I've never been hit by a pirate before. It's like, okay, cool. Why not? Well, why do you think not? Oh, because I always dogleg my jumps. It's like, well, no shit, you're never going to get hit by a pirate. You're flying smart. If we're starved enough and he's got lots of gear. Yeah, but we have to be looking for them, Anta. I can tell you right now, we're not starved for bloody targets. There's heaps out there now. Golden barrel. But I'd like to know what fucking servers Avenger 1's getting on to get 60 targets in 5 days.
And if so, where are we going wrong here? Are people not being educated? Is there a culture that it's not going to happen? Do people not know the risks when they take off? Sometimes I ask myself, how do people justify the risk? Considering most trade routes only give you 10 to almost 20% profit, and that's on a good side. So I wanted to make this video, and I wanted to make it very clear about the things that we have seen in the last week and some tips that the smart trader will be able to look past their emotions and understand that this video is for them and not to stand around gloating about all the catches that we've had. I genuinely want the best for this game, and I want people to understand to get with the program. understand how to keep inevitability that the truth of this game has been so few that the general Star Citizen player base, I believe, is in a state of, I guess, almost denial. It may be hard to say or hard to listen to, but the majority of the player base is not ready for piracy. I have seen many, many times.
Volume's kind of low.
People unaware that they're being watched, unaware of the risks of how to disengage, completely oblivious to even how they're getting caught. And then if they ever do get caught, pointing the finger towards personal attacks, sputtering, pointing, and being upset, which all things I understand. When you get pirated in a $2 million C2, you're allowed to be frustrated. But the big question becomes, it's not the game's fault that you got caught. And sometimes that may be hard to hear. If you are being watched, if you notice that there is an interdictor ship within your targeting sphere, so if you are loading up at, let's say,
I'm trying to work out if this is annoying me because of how slow he's fucking talking, or if it's because the delivery of the information, I already know it. That's what I'm trying to work out. It's his talking. I'm pretty sure it's his talking. He doesn't seem intent on actually getting information out there in a timely or concise manner. Like, I'm going to suffer through for a little bit longer, but yeah, like if he keeps waffling on, I believe the current point is like, fuck, he's talking so slow, I'm forgetting what he's talking about. Fuck was he saying?
You're allowed to be frustrated. But the big question becomes, it's not the game's fault that you got caught. And sometimes that may be hard to hear. If you are being watched, if you notice that there is an interdictor ship within your targeting sphere, so if you are loading up at, let's say, SMO 18 on Microtech, which is currently where the gold is being sold.
I'm done. Fuck this. I'm pretty sure there's some fucking good tips there, but I cannot watch that anymore. I really don't have the patience for that anymore. Like, if he was genuine about trying to give fucking tips on how to bloody deal with pirates, then he could cut this down to like 5 minutes. Low painful agony, yeah. He'd start by not lying about his stats. We have no idea. Like, he could have done it. That's just it. Like, those stats aren't impossible to pull off. It's just you need a really dedicated team to doing it. And you got to get onto the right servers. Whether or not they did it, that's another thing. Because I can tell you right now, man, like, isn't their org pretty large too? I don't know enough about Avenger Squadron to sit there and say that they're pretty large or not. Free-wheel mouse scroll? Kingy, I'm pretty sure he didn't move any boxes either. Dirty, the whole video only gives you one tip. Look at your radar. It's hard to be Jordan Peterson that he's a fan of. Alt F4, fucking hell. Oh man. Tumblr, you want to know what the funniest thing is? I didn't even see the second eye. I thought that you'd said, I mean he did, when I first read it before you added that correction. Like, alright, I'll quickly explain. If I was going to try to attempt what he had done, this is the way that I'd go about it. One, I'd collect as many people as I could. 20 people plus. Then I'd make them all join different servers. Get them all to join different servers. Go to the location where you're most likely going to find targets. And all of them are going to be in either Mantises or Cutlass Blues. As soon as they identify a target, call out. Wait until it takes off, and then intercept it. Make it only look like there's one target there, so that the target thinks that they've got a chance. Myself and pretty much the rest of the Piracy team that would be showing up to take down the target, we would all be in ships that have beds. We'd bedlog from the server that we're on, join on the server that the target's on, go and stomp it, pirate it, start helping with transferring the loot. If there's another target called out on a different server, we'd then hop servers. That's the only way that I could think of where you could get that many targets and be able to pull off those numbers. What that means is, like, if you wanted to hit 60, and he said over 60 as well, not under, over, or not exactly 60, he said over 60, but we've been using 60 as a benchmark. That's 12 a day. Which is why, if I was going to, pull this off, I'd be choosing servers that have I'd be picking the time where there's the most target or potential traffic, and the server regions where I know that we're going to encounter a lot of targets. Now, because of the introduction of soft death, it doesn't actually take much to brick a target anymore. Like, you could do it with a few handful of ships. You don't need a lot there. But yeah, like, if you split enough people up across multiple servers, you could bounce from one target to the other, but you wouldn't be sticking around for too long to move boxes. You wouldn't be sticking around too long to, sell the booty. You'd have to leave a team behind to handle all that while you, the content creator, moved on to the next one. And that's the thing here, is like, part of the reason why after I watched that video, like, I went into this, I wouldn't say downward spiral, but I went into this like thought pattern where I'm like, alright, how the fuck does this guy, like, let's forget about who it actually was. let's just go, some randoms just made this assertion. How would they achieve that? And that was the best strategy that I could come up with. Put as many scouts onto as many unique servers as possible. As soon as one of them gets a hit, jump to that server, pirate the target, and then just keep doing that. Bounce between all the different targets. And like, whoever the scout was on the previous server, they're the ones moving the boxes after we leave. And they may be doing it by themselves. But yeah, that's it. It sucks. Which is why, like, the strategy itself and the numbers that they're putting out there, as I said, it's not impossible to achieve. I don't know if they've done it though. Not to the extent that they're saying. What if they're doing the trader outs themselves while scouting? No, the trader route. They don't really need to do the trade routes. You can just camp the location for buy. Like, one of our guys has been camping SMO 18 and has been fucking getting target after target after target. Because so many people there are bloody... trade noobs. And they're buying up gold. They're tick trading gold at SMO 18. They're tick trading gold, and then they go to take off, and then they, like, there'll be a Cutlass Blue sitting there on the landing pad. They'll just land and start buying, ignoring completely that that ship is, something that pirates use. It's dumb. Like, the amount of players who are getting pirated, the amount of players who are getting pirated these days, are just dumb. And, like, with what was it, the point, like escorts and that, like, players just aren't going to hire escorts until they feel the need. And realistically, players shouldn't be hiring escorts for short jumps. You hire localized security. Hire a security org, pull your credits with like 5 other cargo haulers, and hire a couple of security guys just to patrol the outposts in the trade route. If they encounter any pirates, fucking get stuck in. And then just offer to pay for the merits to get them out of prison quickly. They'll be our spies. No, we use cargo haulers for spies. They're a lot more reliable. Yeah, like that's just it. One guard is enough just to warn for pirates. Like, there have been so many people out there. Like, we have actually come across groups where they've used an escort, and we're just sitting there like, alright, well, we're gonna back off, and we've missed the target because they've used one person there to ping. They've seen us, they come out, and they're like, alright, what are you doing? We're just like, we just try to ignore them. There's been other times where we still go for the attack anyway. A lot of the time, nobody is able to stop us because they don't bring enough firepower to do that. Yeah, just waiting for a mate. Just waiting for a mate. Yeah, that video there was just, it could have been done in a lot less time. I know it's ironic coming from me for how long I fucking take to do these reaction videos, but something planned like that, if you want to give hints and tips to people, the trick is to make it as short as possible. Alright, what we're going to do is move on to the next bit of content, and this is going to be the last thing. I know somebody mentioned a voidy vid for a palette cleanse, but I didn't actually have any lined up. So what I'm going to do is continue on with a plan. And the next one is actually kind of interesting because it is the notes from the Hong Kong bar citizen. So obviously CIG have been doing the international bar citizen route, and they had a bar citizen at Hong Kong. They've had one at bloody in China, which had like 1,500 people at it, which is insane to me. But then again, with the population of over 1 billion people, that's probably normal. It's probably a small event for them. Yeah, I'm gonna read through this, see how we go. I don't think there's a lot of new information that came out of it though. I don't think CIG would have put much out. Right, so this guy's put an edit here, and it's from a guy or somebody that calls himself Chimera. It's from their memory and impressions and condensing information, so there might be inaccuracies. Video has been uploaded. Add/edit accordingly. Want to know where the video is. All additions or edits will be made in blue. Apologies for inaccuracies in the first version. I haven't seen the first version. So there's a lot of information given out of the buses in the Hong Kong event. Some of it was stuff that everyone already knew, but some of it was new information or less known information. Try and take notes from what I and Joseph W can maybe add in things I've forgotten. Squadron 42 being removed from the store is not an indicator of anything remotely imminent regarding Squadron 42 release. That's what they say. There wasn't a denial of anything Squadron 42 coming out, like previews or some kind of early access / vertical slice, but it was clear that they're not expecting it to come out this year. Lies. CitizenCon this year. It's going to get announced. I know it. It's going to come out. We'll be ready. CIG is really excited to see how Starfield performs, and they don't see any real issue with competition. Like, they're gonna fucking admit if they did have an issue with it anyway. Could you imagine it? Fucking just the mention of Starfield up on the panel, and then one of the devs just starts having a fucking meltdown. Like, that's not gonna happen. It's not going to happen. They're going to go, yeah, of course, we really want to see how it goes. And, you know, like, competition's good and blah, blah, blah. 3.2 wipe. I'm pretty sure they mean 3.20. 3.20 wipe will likely only happen if there have been fixes to the duplication mechanics that have been plaguing the game. Wiping without removing the dupe bug is pointless in their opinion, but they will wipe whenever they feel like it's appropriate. I prefer to get away from wipes in general unless there's a reason for them. It's actually an interesting assertion. That they're not going to wipe unless the dupe bugs are gone. CIG is aware of most duping bugs and is trying to squash them. They're also aware of some salvage bugs, but the staff that heard about the infinite salvaging bug with a single reclaimer were unaware of that specific bug. Then normal people are going to play both. I don't know, Ven. I like to think of myself normal, and I may not play Starfield because of the amount of time investment that it'll require. I might give it a go. Nelson, it's because it's a massive conspiracy against you, mate. The whole sea coming out will give them a lot of good information on how bigger ships will impact the server performance in game, but there is a low likelihood of any big ships coming out after 3.20 this year. However, there was a statement made in passing about wishing to see something big like the Pioneer coming out this year, and the comment was made, "You should really come to CitizenCon this year. I think you'd be happy." Sure. Each dev has their own favorite manufacturer ship type, but the only Dracophile there was Type Happy. Aaron Roberts loves the Tally for reasons that will become very clear when Squadron comes out. We're back at the top up here now. Ship designs are going to follow old and new styles from the same manufacturer, as such, ships like the Miss Freelancer, Old Miss will likely not see an upgrade to the aesthetic of the whole new Miss. AI crew blades for simple tasks like mining and salvaging will not likely be in game until there is more stability, otherwise the higher server loads will end up negating their ability to do the tasks, i.e. when all the AI on a server just freezes in place. The Reclaimer's elevator is unique and is the only type in the game, so whenever there are updates to elevators in game, it tends to break the Reclaimer's elevator. They know it's a problem and they know the other problems with the Reclaimer, but they can only do so much while they're also changing aspects of the game. Salvage mechanics for breaking bigger pieces into smaller pieces are still being thought up and haven't been pushed past concept ideas. In addition, only ships that have been created with the physicalized component systems can be soft-deathed. What? In addition, only ships that have been created with the physicalized component systems can be soft-deathed and their components removed. Older ships that don't have the ability to remove the components manually don't have the physical component integrated into the ship, just a placeholder skin. Okay. Well, I know the soft death part's not real. AI systems like ChatGPT won't be used to supplement things in the game because of proprietary reasons. Yeah, until fucking Chris Roberts decides to make his own. Base building comes into the game, it will be something more akin to Fallout 4's prefab house system, not something where you can create a base building panel by panel. Base building is very important to CIG because they want to have people creating bases and whatnot, but it won't be coming out until like around Nyx. Pyro was asked about for base building and the response was a resounding nope. That's really interesting. Chris Roberts trying to create a better ChatGPT just to add it to the game. I guarantee that he would have seen the NVIDIA example of AI-driven dialogue where the player was talking in voice and the AI was responding. Guarantee you would have seen that and would have been like, "Oh, we need to get that in game." Different systems, when they come out, will have different themes, and CIG will expect that the way that each system looks. Sorry. The way that each system looks and acts will reflect both the theme of the system as well as when it was created. The expectation is that Stanton will feel old and safe compared to the harsh and dangerous Pyro, while Nyx will be more off-grid homesteader themed, which implies heavily that base building will be seen when Nyx comes out. Yeah, I doubt that. I doubt we're going to see base building when Nyx comes out, but maybe. Fuck, could be wrong. Pyro still needs server meshing, as it's been said in many videos. Smaller side missions will be given at some point once there's more stability and meshing. Eventually, UGF missions could have multiple parts, including where you need to first destroy air assets before going into a bunker on the ground and secure stuff. with also reinforcements coming to try to relieve their colleagues. No time frame on implementation though. There's a few streamers that are already doing that. Yeah. That does not surprise me. I wonder how many of them are being banned because somebody managed to get the AI to say something dumb. Or say something that would get them banned. Art aesthetics for different cities, especially human cities, are inspired by the in-game lore. With a lot of tie-ins to sections of current day Earth. Hong Kong was specifically mentioned for making Area 18 and Lawville alleyways and advertisements. However, as alien lore and aesthetics get built out, we'll see some amazing alien architecture. When asked about why they don't release specific systems and allow people to navigate either by a menu or loading screen, the response was simply, that's not how we want to do it. We want to get the servant meshing thing figured out so that we can start rolling in new systems. When follow-up asked about how many systems, the response was, well, we want to have Pyro and Nix in as soon as possible, but we haven't built too much out of other systems yet. Oh, it's got a AI that makes fun of people's names. I haven't looked at his stream in a while. I'll have to drop in sometime. SpongeBob started telling transphobic jokes, really? Yeah, you'd need like a button like that just so that you can't... Just so that you don't end up in a position where your AI is getting you booted off Twitch. That is interesting though, that like there's not much in Nix and they already have Levski sorted out. I want to get server meshing thing figured out, so we all get delayed. Right. Land beacons that are owned can be sold in-game, or the land that the beacon claimed can be sold, but players are not able to claim land themselves and sell it officially to others, as the only types of land claims that are recognized come from governing authorities. So we can't just land somewhere, put down our own claim and just say, yep, this is ours now. We have to have it recognized by governing authority. But they did say, I do remember CIG saying ages back when they were first talking about the Pioneer, like you technically could build anywhere, it's just whether or not you have the rights to be there is another thing. There will not be player ownership of stations in game. Players and groups can control stations if they have people on them and block people from entering them. But the idea of owning them, player-owned stations owning in EVE, won't happen. Nelson, probably not. We'd need a lot more people than what we've currently got to be able to pull something off like that. Then we'd need a 24-hour presence. I don't know how many people actually want to play Star Citizen like it's a job, because that's kind of what you got to do. Unless we could get enough AI assets to be able to offload a lot of the boring protection task, I think we'd end up having to concede that we wouldn't be able to lock down a planet. Where else? Actually, I should have grabbed the link for you guys. That's where I'm reading this from if you want to read it in your own time as well. Player housing and ownership will absolutely be a thing, but it's expected to be instant and like owning an apartment. But because of server instancing / meshing, you could have any number of people actually owning flat 23B in a hab tower. Players will also be able to own multiple housing units around the verse. Alright, here we go. Toe. Theaters of War. Theaters of War assets are coming into Arena Commander, and Theaters of War is being worked on, but not with a large team / priority. There is a group that is testing different game modes when they're doing work on it. One feature from TOE that the AC update has is the ability to spawn into other people's ships. But the TOE maps and assets aren't being put into AC. Impression from other conversations later was that TOE is being worked on, but the priority focus is on other gameplay aspects. The 600i rework is still being considered, but is not on the tracker because it's taken a backseat to many other things. There was a long and complicated discussion about the economy and the effect of the whole sea on the economy, but the gist of it is that certain ships are considered as haulers, while others are considered as delivery ships. Ones that are able to land are delivery, while haulers carry stuff from one station to another and have interstellar capability. Todd Pappy did state he didn't particularly see the whole sea as interstellar, which is a bit weird, but the long and short of it was that they don't really have a projection on how the whole sea will affect the economy yet. Most of this conversation was focused around how players can move things between Pyro and Stanton. Nothing was really said about the whole sea's effect on things when it comes into 3.2.0. That's what we're hoping for, Toe Cutter. Hopefully they fix up the bed logging. They must have more haulers planned then, because you got, what was it, the whole C, D, and E. Because if they break up the differences between haulers, the whole C, D, and E can't land while they're transporting cargo. And that's it. Like, every other ship that can carry cargo can land. Every other ship that we're seeing. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Here's this one. CIG realized what a mess the updated Cutlass price debacle was, and double pinky swear that at any time there'll be a price increase on existing ships, it will be advertised well beforehand on Spectrum. Assume they disabled group bed logging to allow for boarding. No, I believe they disabled group bed logging to stop people from exploiting people who would do a boarding action, bed log on the ship, wait until the target, had decided to bed log, and then log in. I think there was a conflict there. Alright, these last ones. FPS sliding and additional animations will be a thing, no ETA given. Passenger transport missions will come after freight transport missions. Quanta isn't seen as a virtual economy gameplay, more NPC focused and adjusting shop prices in-game. Persistent hangars are slated to come out when the next iteration of the cargo system comes in-game. No, AI blades aren't really being worked on right now, but NPC crew stuff with wingman commands are being tested, but no idea when we'll have that implementation. Yeah, Avatar. That's what I believe that CIG stopped that from, why CIG stopped that from being a thing. Which is probably why they need the trespassing system to be up and functioning. So if you think about it, if you're trespassing on somebody's ship, you can't bedlog. The other thing as well is that bedlogging is supposed to, your body's not supposed to disappear when you bedlog. It's supposed to be like games like Ark and Atlas where if you bedlog or you log out, your character just stays there. Because your bed is supposed to take up a slot. Yeah, that was the notes from the Hong Kong bar citizen, which was interesting. I don't really think there was huge things like the base building, them talking about the base building thing though. Talking about the style of how the buildings would actually be created. I wasn't expecting them to do panel-based systems like you would get in Ark and Atlas and Rust and that. It was kind of interesting. They talked about it when they first released the Pioneer, where it was going to be like the ships would essentially 3D print a building. It'll still be interesting to see how it goes, whether or not they'll do like the angles that you can make buildings on and stuff like that. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for this stream, everyone. Normally I'd try and keep it going a little bit longer, but as you've been able to see throughout the entire stream, I've been struggling every now and again to talk, and yeah. Been coughing my guts up still. I'm on the back end of a flu. So I will be on tonight. It'll be my night time. It's just one of those weeks. Yeah, Stony. That's exactly right. I do have an event that I'll be running later on tonight. Which I'll definitely be on for. Appreciate everybody coming along for the stream. I will say this, I've almost got a video ready to push out of our piracy ops. It's one from like early on in the 3.19 patch. It's been a bit of a struggle to work on this one, not because of the difficulty of cutting the video together, but because there's actually a lot of stuff that happens after the hit happens while we're moving boxes, but it doesn't really add any entertainment values. So yeah, and that's another thing that I've been analyzing with our videos as well, as moving forward, trying to make sure that we only put videos out that are entertaining. And what it's come to my realization is that piracy gameplay isn't as fun as what it is anymore when it comes to making videos. The interactions aren't as varied enough, and hitting one cargo hauler is the same as hitting the other 100 cargo haulers. Nelson, it was the one in the valley. The valley on Microtech. The one where it took longer to fucking get the cargo than it did to actually do the hit. But yeah. It's almost done. I just need to put some more time into it. Just get the last little bits of cuts done and then put the music over it. It should be out. Or 60 for 38 million. Yeah. Alright. I gotta get going anyway, guys. Thank you very much for coming along. Next week's stream, don't know when it's going to be yet. Should be a lot better by then. But yeah, I'll catch you next.